me a high five. We're with you. We're so excited to have you here. Thank you for making the.
So we are heading into week 1 of marathon training. So this is the second season of Lift Heavy, Run Far, and this is a very interesting season that I'm heading into because we're changing things up a bit. My plan this season is to lift more for endurance than lift heavy. I know last season it was all about strength training and just building that strength in my muscles. This year is about building endurance in my muscles, and also really following along with the 3P Endurance Co journey. Last year I didn't really vlog as much last year because it was more of a personal year for me. It was trying to figure out where I wanted to be in this space, where I wanted to be, what I wanted my mission to be as a company, and my mission to be as an endurance athlete. And I did a lot of soul searching. I know that sounds corny, but it's true. Soul searching, a lot of figuring out where I want to be, what I want to be, and what I want the endurance company to be. And I left off last season trying to get hats done and creating a lot of promo hats to give out for people to wear. And I came up with a final product, which is my marathon hat, Respect the Marathon on the side, the endurance company. And I love this hat, and it's my first hat. And there is a lot of flaws that come with building a company, or not flaws, but a lot of things that happen when you're building a company, whether it's cash flow, whether it's finding the right materials, whether it's finding the right vendors and things like that. And along that journey you meet a lot of personal challenges, and you start to wonder if that's your goal, what's your goal. And I know last year I started off the year thinking like, man, I'm going to do all of these crazy, I know last year I started off thinking I'm going to do all of these races. I wanted to do triathlons. I wanted to do high rocks races. I wanted to get 3P out there. I wanted to do all of these things. And although I accomplished some of those things, I didn't share them. And I think it was just more personal for me. But this year is different. This year I know where I want to be, and this year I know that pushing my company to be what I know it can be and what I want it to be is the main mission of this year. With that being said, we went to the marathon kickoff, and it was amazing. I mean, this year I'm not an ambassador, but just seeing all of the other ambassadors and seeing all of the, people coming out just to kick off their training. We got 16 weeks of just training. You don't know who you're going to be at the end of this training, but I know it'll be better. Your diet will change, your fitness will change, you'll grow as a person over 16 weeks. 16 weeks is a long time to be training for something. I always think of it as like you're training 16 weeks just to run one race, or just to run 26 miles. So it could be 800 miles that you have in that 16 weeks that you'll run just to run one race of 26 miles. So that's a very interesting perspective to have. And when you really think about it that way, it's kind of crazy. It's kind of like a brain twister when you really think of it that way. But it is really cool to see where you become, or who you become at the end of that 16 weeks. But for me, not only is it really motivating to see people come out and for this goal, it was very motivating to see Nick Beer out there. And I've been following along his journey and building BPN. And I know like a lot of people take away from his physical feats, and just building a company, building a community that he's built. But, I also take away that it is possible, just seeing someone out there and, following his journey. And one thing I love about him is that he documented. If you've been following my journey since, what the business podcast, that was my very first podcast where I talked about building a business, and showing the process. That's something that I've always wanted to do, is just show the process from ground one. I always said that, you always see the billionaires and the millionaires at the top, but no one really got to see when they're at the middle or even at the bottom. So that's one thing that I really, really love about watching Nick Bear's journey. And, it's also inspiring for me because I want to build things. For me, I want to build the endurance company, not only to be a running company, but a triathlon company, a cycling company, all the things that I'm passionate about. And I just want to create that motivation for people, when they throw 3P Endurance Co. on, when they throw my my company's brand on, and they have that name Endurance Co. on their chest or on their back, I want them to feel like they threw on that Superman cloak, or that cape, that extra edge of confidence, that thing that that when you have it on, it's game time, it's go time. That's one thing that I would love to create with my company, and I think we will create that. And it's just really, really good to see other brands do it, but it's also good to see people do it when they're when they show the process. That's the biggest thing for me, is just showing the process. And I can't wait to get back to showing that process. So this is the end of the foundation building phase, the first 2 weeks before marathon training starts. That's what I do. Personally, I just like to get the jitters out, the preliminary pain of getting back into fitness, and then we start that 16-week block. So today starts that 16-week block, and we are back into season 2 of Lift Heavy, Run 4. Let's do it.